everyone. In today's class of biotechnology and its application, we will be studying about the application of biotechnology in the field of medicine. In our last class, we have studied about the application of biotechnology in the field of agriculture. Today, a very important topic we are going to discuss, that is the application of biotechnology in the field of medicine. Now see students, before we move on to the various things which is described in your syllabus of your NCERT book, one should know that this recombinant DNA technology is very vital in terms of medicine, because by the help of this we are able to develop the vaccines, we are able to develop the various kinds of biomolecules, we are able to do the process of gene therapy in human beings, which otherwise a few years back was very difficult. A person who was born with a genetic defect would not have been being able to lead a normal life with the use of the medical facilities available, because it is a genetical problem, a birth defect, which cannot be treated by the external application of the drugs or the medicines. But by the help of this recombinant DNA technology, that means the correct gene, if it is introduced into the body cells, into the own human body cells, then they are able to rectify the problems which the person is born with, and as a result the person can lead a normal life. Okay, so although there are various medicines available worldwide with respect to this recombinant DNA technology, almost 30 different types or 30 different varieties are available, but as far as India is concerned, only 12 medicines or that is the application of this biotechnology in the field of medicine are being marketed, not all the 30s. So the first thing which we are going to discuss in today's class is about the genetically engineered insulin. Now insulin, we all know students, it is a hormone which lowers the blood sugar level, isn't it? And this insulin is proteinaceous in nature. So if something is proteinaceous in nature, if we try to make it artificially, this insulin, and give it in the form of pills or tablets to the patient who are diabetic, in that case, since it is protein, so it can be digested within the alimentary tract of human beings by the various protein digesting enzymes present in our gut, isn't it? So it is not advisable that this insulin should be taken in the form of oral medicines. It has to be injected into the body. But think about the painful situation if a patient is suffering from diabetes. Regular subjecting to these injections of insulin is very painful, isn't it? So what could be done? If there could have been any technology or any kind of technique by which the defective gene, which is not able to produce insulin in sufficient quantity in the patients who are diabetic, if that can be rectified by means of this recombinant DNA technology, then naturally the host cell can start preparing the insulin and the person can lead a normal life without getting the injections of insulin regularly in his or her life. Now in your book you will see that this insulin, that is insulin in inactive form. See, any hormone or any enzyme at first is in its inactive form, we call it as your proenzyme, or we in this case we will call it as your proinsulin. Okay, so insulin is basically made up of two polypeptide chains. It's a protein, so it is made up of two polypeptide chain. So this portion I have indicated it as A. So this is polypeptide chain A and this one is polypeptide chain B. Okay, so in one case it is made up of 21 amino acids and another case it is made up of 30 amino acids. Now these two chains are connected by means of disulfide bridge. So disulfide bonds are present between these that is the polypeptide chain A and polypeptide chain B, and in between them there is another that is a connector, you can say, polypeptide chain, which is C, which is not required. So in inactive form this chain C is also attached with that of polypeptide chain A and the peptide chain B. Okay, now when the maturation takes place, when this proinsulin, this is proinsulin, that means inactive form of insulin, is in mature form. So in mature form what happens is that this segment, that is your polypeptide chain A and polypeptide chain B, is is taken from this entire proinsulin, and they are connected by means of this disulfide bond, and finally we get the resultant insulin, which is the mature insulin from this proinsulin. Okay, and this free C peptide, we don't need it, so it is eliminated out. So this is what is the exact you can say the configuration of the insulin, which is actually acting on the sugar, that is the extra glucose, and it is getting converted into that of the glycogen. So it actually is insulin, you can say, is hypoglycemic. Okay, so that is how the maturation of from the proinsulin to the insulin it takes place. Now this is a normal case, that means normally what happens in the body. Now people who are diabetic, earlier when the treatment used to be done, they were given the insulin injections from some other organisms, pancreas, like for example slaughtered cattle or slaughtered pig and all, from their pancreas insulin was extracted and it was given to the person who were diabetic. But it was noticed that when this type of insulin was given from some other organism into the human body, it showed some kind of immunological response, it showed some kind of allergic response. So the body, the host cell did not accept it. The human being's body started rejecting it, or they showed various kinds of allergic symptoms. So it was not at all healthy, and it was not at all accepted so widely, as because it had some health impacts, or it had some side effects on the body of the patient who used to take this insulin from some other organisms, like that of the cattle or like that of the pig and all. So it was in 1983 a company called Eli Lilly. Okay, now this company Eli Lilly, what they did is that they found that what is the sequence for making up of this polypeptide chain A and B. They made, and artificially they made the DNA segment, that is the DNA sequence of for the polypeptide chain A and polypeptide chain B, and they introduced into the organism, that is your E. coli, and let it undergo a complementary base pairing over there. So when a complementary base pairing was done with the artificially synthesized segment of that nucleotide sequence, which was responsible for the formation of A peptide chain and B peptide chain, the E. coli was now naturally able to synthesize in a large scale this that is your insulin in the form of A peptide chain and B peptide chain. Once this A peptide chain and B peptide chain were isolated from this organism, that is E. coli, then artificially by means of disulfide bridge they were able to undergo the conformational changes and take up the shape of the insulin, or take up the form of the insulin which is now required by the host cell, that is the human being who is a diabetic person, and it could be easily introduced into the body without showing any kind of allergic response. So this was a vital, you can say, findings in terms of medicine field by the help of the that is your biotechnology, that is introduction of the sequence of the DNA into another organism and preparation of the required hormone into another organisms, and then artificially making it the proper, because protein they are in different forms, primary structure, secondary structure, tertiary structure. So to work it in its exact form, disulfide bridge has to be there between the A peptide and the B peptide chain, and once it is formed, now on a industrial scale, on a very large scale, this insulin can be artificially prepared. So that was a great success in the field of medicine done by the Eli Lilly company in the year 1983. Okay, the next thing which has been discussed other than genetically engineered insulin is called as your gene therapy. Okay, so let us rub it and then we will see about the gene therapy. The next topic that is to be discussed regarding the application of biotechnology in the field of medicine is about your gene therapy. Now gene therapy, what does it mean? It means that the treatment at the level of gene. A person who is born with a birth defect, That will be because of some genetical reason. So if we are able to treat that gene, that defective gene, then the person who is born with a birth defect can be cured, because sometimes there are some difficult birth defect which a person is born with, which by just the external application of drugs or the medicines cannot treat it, and the person has to suffer lifelong. One such abnormality is your ADA deficiency. Now, what is this ADA deficiency? It is adenosine deaminase. Now, this is an enzyme, adenosine deaminase, which is responsible for the immunological responses of our body. Those people who have a defective gene, that is, this enzyme is not able to function properly, a non-functional enzyme is produced, there is a deficiency of ADA in these person, so they show immunological disorder. That means their immune system is poor, their immune system is weak. It was first reported in the year 1990 in a 4-year-old girl child, this kind of deficiency which was reported, and this girl was treated. A gene therapy was given. Now, gene therapy approaches in two different ways. One is called the enzyme replacement therapy, and the other one is called the bone marrow transplantation. Now, both of them are not the permanent cure, but to a larger extent, instead of the drugs effect on this ADA deficiency and the person showing poor immunological response, by these two treatments, to a larger extent the person's life can be made normal or can be made easy. Now, first approach is what? In case of enzyme replacement theory is that the person's lymphocytes from the blood sample is collected and it is cultured in a culture media. So, when it is cultured in a culture media, they become larger in number. Now, to this what happens is that a complementary DNA consisting of a rectified that is a segment of gene which is able to synthesize the normal enzyme, that is your adenosine deaminase, is introduced by means of a retrovirus. Now, why retrovirus? Retrovirus is the one which can do the reverse transcription, that is from RNA it can come to the form of it can do the, that is, it can make the DNA. So, that thing is introduced into the lymphocytes, and then these lymphocytes are collected and again injected into the patient's body. So, once it is injected into the patient's body, now the patient is having the normal DNA, that is a functional DNA which will be able to produce that enzyme ADA, and the person can get rid of this problem of immunological disorder. But as we know that no cell is immortal in our body, isn't it, and lymphocytes have a lifespan. So, there should be a regular injection given to such kind of patients for getting a positive effect on the immunological disorder which is caused because of the ADA deficiency. So, that is not a permanent cure, but yes, to a larger extent this can be handled, because if the lymphocytes are cultured and in a large extent they are regularly being introduced into the body of the patients, and then definitely the patient's ADA deficiency problem can be solved to a larger extent, which otherwise was impossible beforehand. Now, the second one which targets is towards this ADA deficiency is called the bone marrow transplantation. Now, this bone marrow transplantation is done to a person who is born with this birth defect of ADA at the embryonic level. When a person is in its embryonic level, in the fetal stage or the embryonic level, during that phase only we know that by means of amniocentesis not only the sex of an individual can be determined, but various other birth defects, genetic defects also can be identified. And because of this Human Genome Project, we are successful in finding out the gene sequence of the human beings, all the gene sequence of the human beings. A 13-year long project which has been undertaken by so many countries, and it had ultimately become a success. So, in that case, if the embryo of the person who is going to take birth, that person's embryo, if is introduced with the correct that is your gene sequence for the synthesis of this ADA, and that is that enzyme which will be ultimately responsible for the strengthening our immunological system. If it is done at the fetal level, from the bone marrow it is taken, from a healthy person's bone marrow it is taken, and it is introduced into the embryonic stage, into the embryonal cells of that unborn baby or the unborn child, then soon after the birth, this problem of regular subjecting to the enzyme replacement therapy by means of those lymphocytes can be overcome, and it could be a sort of, you can say, permanent cure compared to that of the previous one. That is the first one. The first approach is not a permanent one. This also can lead to failure. See, if we are afraid of any kind of experiments getting failed, then we cannot go for new approaches. So definitely science is something which is innovative, which every now and then changes, and which every now and then brings about new hopes. So this is really a new hope in the field of medicine, which is called the gene therapy. Not only this, but other birth defects also can be treated at the genetical level, especially at the embryonic level. If it is treated, then it has a long lasting effect on the individual which is going to take birth. Okay. Now the next topic which we are going to discuss in terms of field of medicine, the application of biotechnology, that we are going to now see is the molecular diagnosis. Now molecular diagnosis means what? See students, for any kind of ailment or any kind of disease which happens to a person, how do we know it, isn't it? Or how does the medical practitioner knows this? The conventional method is just to go for various kinds of testing. The simplest one is the serum testing, that means blood reports, or you can say urine culture method and all these things. So from this we can come to know that a person, whether is what we are suspecting, that whether the person is suffering from any kind of ailment or not. But the problem is that when we are suggesting a patient for this kind of testing, by that time already the person has been infected with that bacteria or with that virus or the organisms to a larger extent, because symptoms appear in the body of an organism when the organism has already established in our body, isn't it? Once the organism enters, during that time the symptom does not appear so enormously. But once it has established, it has an incubation period. The incubation period is over, then starts the symptoms, appearance of the symptoms, and then it is so violent, or so you can say vibrant, or so enormous in amount, that it is very hard during that time to tackle the situation, and it becomes sometimes very difficult to treat the patient. So what is the best way? Thus molecular diagnosis is the best way. Molecular means at the molecular level, if at the genetic level, if we are able to diagnose the problem or the disease at the very first stage when the organism has entered into the body of that person, then maybe the treatment can become very easy, and the initial stage when the organism has not at all established in the body and has not developed the symptoms of the disease, if during that time only we are targeting the microorganism or we are doing something to kill the organism, definitely the person will suffer less and can get well very soon. So what are these various kinds of molecular diagnosis techniques in case of your biotechnological application in the field of medicine? Is that called as your recombinant DNA technology. Here whenever this word comes recombinant, we have to always look for an organism having a plasmid in which we can introduce that is a segment of the gene which is of our interest, so that it can incorporate into it, and while the replication of the plasmid takes place, it also gets replicated and it can show its result at a very faster rate. Okay, the next one is called as your ELISA. This is enzyme linked immunosorbent assay. Now this phenomenon is actually based upon the antigen antibody response. Okay, ELISA targets to that. If the level of the antigen, if the amount of the antigen in the blood is diagnosed, that can also be detected by means of this ELISA test, and we can understand which type of microorganism has infested into the body. And which antibody will be produced in response to the antigen, if we know ahead, if we have done this kind of culture beforehand, then that also can be detected by means of the ELISA technique. So any kind of pathological infestation because pathogens are also a kind of antigen, so that can be also detected by means of ELISA, Also in response to that pathogen, if the body is producing any kind of antibody, that also can be detected by means of this ELISA technique. So ELISA technique is very important in terms of your molecular diagnosis of any kinds of diseases. It is very effective in case of diseases like the AIDS, people who are HIV positive. In them, by the help of this ELISA technique, one can know that whether the person whom we are suspecting that the person may be a patient of AIDS or having HIV positive thing in him or her can be detected by means of this ELISA technique. And PCR, we all know that polymerase chain reaction. Here what is done is that that is a DNA that is your sequence is selected, and it is binded with that of the radioactive probe and is introduced into the cultured cells. And when it is introduced into the cultured cells, a complementary base pairing takes place, isn't it? And now this after this complementary base pairing has taken place, then if they are subjected to the that is your radiations, that is X-ray diffraction or radiations, after treating it with some chemicals like ethidium bromide and all, and if they show that is your plating, in the X-ray plating they show the things properly, then there will be some portions or some segments of the pairing in which the gene is not pairing with that of the complementary base pairs. Why is it so? Because the gene has undergone mutation. When will the gene undergo mutation? When it is not the normal or not the natural gene, the gene which we are born with, it has not undergone mutation, but as a result of any microbial infestation, like say for example cancerous effect or like that of AIDS, if that segment of the gene has undergone mutation, that has resulted into the development of the disease. So that will not be doing the complementary base pairing with that segment of the DNA, isn't it? So there will be no complementary base pairing and it will not be appearing in the X-ray plate. So by that also we can come to know that the person whether is affected by a particular kind of disease or not. So PCR, what is the purpose of PCR? We all know that to amplify a segment of gene number of times, because 1 billion copies can be obtained in 30 cycles. You have read it in your previous chapter. So again and again, if we get this segment of gene and we are doing this testing so as to make it clear, so then we can come to know that yes, the person is a victim of AIDS or is a victim of cancer or not by the help of this technology. So molecular diagnosis gives a sure shot diagnosis of a particular disease at a very initial stage compared to that of the conventional methods of diagnosis of serum testing or urine testing and all. So this is all about your application of biotechnology in the field of medicine, which we have studied today, that is in terms of your insulin production, in terms of your gene therapy, and finally in terms of your molecular diagnosis. This particular topic is very, very important from the point of view of your examination as well as for your competitive examination. Firstly, that insulin portion, and especially the company who first made artificial insulin, how is it made, polypeptide chain A, polypeptide chain B, pro-insulin, from that this insulin, that the diagram, all those things are very important for your examination point of view. Please go through it and note down or underline the things of those company who has introduced it first. Like in case of your gene therapy also, in 1990, one girl, she was first given this kind of treatment of ADA deficiency. So that all years are also very important. So please underline it while you are studying these things. And in our coming class, we are going to discuss about the transgenic animals, followed by the ethical issues. That's all for today's class.